Wild for the Weekend is sponsored by the following supporters.
Hopcop Premium Meats are third-generation BC farmers, roaming pasture-fed, non-GMO, grain-finished cattle with no added hormones and steroids. We source local produce and specialty grocery selections located on Old Dewdney Trunk Road in Pitt Meadows. hopcopmeats.ca.
Hello everybody and welcome to Wild for the Weekend. Today we are going to cook with beautiful roaming, foraging chicken, which is just stunning. We're going to have some fun with our fleur de sel and some crackers, and we're going to learn a little history about the pharaohs and what they thought about chicken. Please come back in just a second to join me on Wild for the Weekend. Hello everyone and welcome back to Wild for the Weekend. We are going to do some amazing things with chicken today, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a Thai green curry. It's a really simple dish. It takes us a couple of minutes to cook, but a very simple dish. Into my skillet, which is very hot, I'm going to put a tablespoon or so of olive oil. Not too much, because it's a non-stick skillet, so nothing's really going to stick in there. I've got 2 chicken breasts that I just chopped roughly, about 1 inch cubed. And we're going to put them in there and just let them cook gently. A little bit of fleur de sel, just to get it going. And to that, we're going to add some red peppers, about 1/2 cup of red peppers. I like the red pepper because of the color. It's really going to punch when we serve it. And when the curry goes into the cream, it gives this beautiful tinge that we'll really enjoy. So just sear off your chicken. It's going to partly saute, and then it's going to actually poach in the coconut milk. So, to that, I'm going to add just a few shallots. And I didn't add them at the beginning. Oh, a little spillage. I didn't add them at the beginning because I didn't want them to char. And sometimes if you put them in at the beginning, they'll brown up and crisp up, and we don't want that. We want them to be nice and gentle and soft, have a lovely rich caramelly flavor to them. So if you put them in afterwards, what happens is the moisture comes out of the chicken, goes into the onion, and creates a lovely, soft, mellow onion. Really nice and subtle. So, a little bit like, if you have a wok, you can do this in a wok as well. And add any vegetable that you like. It's a very simple dish. You don't have to add exactly what I'm saying, but add any vegetable you like. I got some really gorgeous eggplant, and so I'm going to pop that in as a really nice vegetable. You can use the Japanese eggplant or a regular black eggplant. Just cut them again. Try and keep everything about the similar size so that when you serve it, everything is in a similar format. And you want to add this, but we're not going to cook that too far because we actually want the coconut milk to do most of the cooking for that. So that eggplant is in there and it's cooking beautifully, doing a really good job. We're going to add a little bit of fish sauce in there now. And not too much. Fish sauce is actually a rendering of fish bones, and it has a beautiful saltiness. You don't really want to eat it on its own because it really will make your throat close up, but it adds a really beautiful roundness to this curry, and you can smell it. It's got such a gorgeous smell to it. And then we're going to add the curry paste, the green curry paste. And let me just get a teaspoon, so I can get all that paste out of there and into our skillet. And just in the middle, I'm just going to warm this curry paste up. If you warm the curry paste up just ever so fractionally, it'll accept the coconut milk at a much better rate and cause it to blend together really well. That's a good tip for you actually if you're ever working with a whipped egg or a sauce that you need to add a cold ingredient to. Put a little bit of the hot sauce in with the cold ingredient, really blend that together well, and then add that to the hot, and it will blend much easier for you. It's a much simpler process. Okay. Oh, I'm throwing things away today. And to this, our final thing we're going to add is some coconut milk. We're going to put in about 1 cup, maybe 1.5 cups of coconut milk. And you'll notice it's quite thick. It has some lumps in it. We shook it a little bit, but you don't want to separate the whey from the coconut. Leave them both together. And that, literally, is the dish. What you do now is you bring that to a simmer and allow that to cook for about 6 or 7 minutes or so, and it will beautifully incorporate that chicken and the eggplant, and give you a gorgeous umami flavor. So we will let that saute gently for 6 minutes or so. And as you can see, that skillet is simmering away just beautifully. The chicken, like I said, is about a 6-minute cook. We don't want to overcook it. That's very, very important. It will become quite rubbery. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about chicken and where we're buying the chicken from. This chicken, I want you to go to our website, the wildfortheweekend.ca website, and we'll connect you to all of the ingredients that we used in the show so that you can actually use the products that we're using. And they're all in British Columbia, and they're all readily available, which is really good. But this chicken specifically came from our butcher, and I want you to get to know your butcher to get to know your food, and that's a real serious statement. I know my butcher really, really well, and I know where this chicken comes from. I know how it was fed. I know that it's foraging chicken, and I love that it's foraging chicken because what that means is the chicken actually has gone out and sourced its own food. They're leaving it to source its own food. It's determining its needs, so it's keeping a healthy balance, a healthy kind of lifestyle. Foraging free range is a very, very key. It's the next term in kind of the organic movement. And it will really make a difference. The difference that it makes to the chicken is actually the tendon of the chicken is tender, and far more tender because it isn't force-fed corn and is left living a very natural kind of quiet life. So it's a really lovely way to eat the chicken. And our butcher actually visits the farms that the chickens are raised on regularly so that he can go and see what's going on. Now, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I accompany. If I ever have a Thai curries in the house, I don't like to serve rice or noodles or a starch or grains or anything. I eat very little places, but grains or anything. So what we did was developed a little cracker. And this is a really cool cracker. And at the end of the show, we're actually going to give you the recipe. So stay tuned. We're going to show you how to make these crackers at the end of the show. This one is a beautiful sprouted flour, and you want to eat a sprouted flour because the nutrient content is 100 times more in a sprouted grain than it is in a regular grain. As soon as the grain is sprouted and stopped, it's arrested at that stage, and then ground, it's dried again and then ground, the nutrient and mineral content is massive, and it makes a big, big difference to the quality of the nutrient that you're taking in. But I love these crackers. On top, you'll notice there's a little bit of a purple blood stain. That's the blackberry fleur de sel that we've been using in the series. And we also put a little sesame seed in the top there. So when I serve this dish, I serve this with a beautiful wheat cracker, and that's it. And to serve it, all I do is put it into a nice dish, really. It is as simple as this. You want to put in all of that beautiful liquid. Really lovely. Look at that, gorgeous. And I love the colors of this curry. They've got a really soft, gentle color. Really lovely if you're feeling the slightest ailment. The wonderful thing about coconut milk is it's a nurturer. So it's got that comfort element that you're looking for when you're eating food. So if you're going for potatoes and gravy, maybe look at this. The Asian continent has a real touch on light food that gives you the elements that you need when you're not feeling so great and lifts you up. So really consider this. I garnish this with a little bit of parsley. Two kinds. I've got a flat and a curly here, and literally that's it. I do nothing else with that. I take that to the couch. I put a table in front of me. I might share it with David if he's been a good boy and hasn't upset me this week. And we have it with some crackers and try and fight the dogs off. I really do enjoy this chicken, and I want you to look at the chicken that you're buying. Remember, chicken that you buy from a registered butcher, a really good quality chicken is not rumbled. It's not put into a system and given a brine fluid. And chicken that you buy in a supermarket will definitely have been rumbled. It's a system where they literally put it into what looks like a massive tumble dryer, and they put a brine in there and it soaks it up. That's why you notice your chicken shrinking when you cook it. And this chicken didn't shrink. And the reason it didn't shrink, it's got no brine in it. And so really consider that. That's about the volume of food. It may be slightly more expensive, but you're eating less of it. So a 6, 8 ounce breast will feed 1 to 2 people, whereas a 6, 8 ounce breast that you're buying from a supermarket will actually feed 1 because it'll become a 5 to 6 ounce breast once the fluid comes out of it. Come back in a few minutes. We're actually going to do another chicken dish, which is, again, super simple, beautifully light with lemongrass. I look forward to seeing you again in a few on Wild for the Weekend.
Wild for the Weekend is sponsored by the following supporters.
Hopcop Premium Meats are third generation BC farmers, roaming pasture-fed non-GMO grain-finished cattle with no added hormones and steroids. We source local produce and specialty grocery selections located on Old Dewdney Trunk Road in Pitt Meadows. hopcopmeats.ca. West Coast Wild Foods, foraged wild mushrooms and truffles harvested from the Northwest Territories to southern BC. westcoastwildfoods.com, a wild foods company.
Mobile Bandit is an app that helps you find local deals on your smartphone. Downloadable on all devices and no membership is required. Visit mobilebandit.com for more info. Golden Ears Cheeseworks, artisan cheese made in the Fraser Valley. Golden Ears Cheeseworks, cheese made with the family farm milk. 3-year cheddar, Yorkshire Blue, and Brie. Hagensborg Chocolates is a boutique Vancouver-based chocolate company that has been producing European chocolate since 2006. Pure Verona chocolate.
Third generation family farm in the Fraser Valley. Fraser Valley Specialty Poultry has free-range duck and goose, duck sausage and smoked duck breast, organic chicken and ground duck patties. Fraser Valley Specialty Poultry in Chilliwack, BC. fvdg.com. Anita's Organic Flour and Mixes has over 20 years providing whole grain products from Canadian farmers. Anita's is certified organic grains, flour, cereals, mixes and sprouted products. Their granite stone mills and low temperature milling preserve the nutrition for whole grain food. AnitasOrganic.com.
Welcome back to Wild for the Weekend, where we're doing some amazing things with our beautiful roaming free-range chicken. We're going to do a dish now that is a lemongrass. You can do 1,000 things with chicken. We all know that you can stuff it, you can roll the breast, you can do everything. We've all done everything with it, and grind it, make burgers, the whole thing. I really love the simple dishes when you go and buy these beautiful organic dishes, because they really do have a huge amount of flavor. So let's get cooking. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil into our skillet, and we're also going to put a couple of nuggets of butter in there, and I'm doing that just for flavor. And to that, I'm going to add our chopped up chicken breast. Chicken first was kind of domesticated in about 8,000 BCE. We've been eating chicken for thousands and thousands of years. And in fact, pharaohs used to eat it, and they would call it the bird that gave life every day. And the person that did that was Tutmosis III. I love the history of food and where it comes from. And what's really amazing about a lot of the food that we cook on Wild for the Weekend is the history of it. It has a great deal of time that's spent in Syria, and that whole southern Asian continent's got a real influence on the food that we use today. I'm adding some cherry tomatoes into this dish, and I'm adding them purely as a color element, a tiny little bit of flavor, but I love them when they burst and show a little bit of color. So we're going to leave that to saute for a minute or two. This is lemongrass, and lemongrass is obviously a grass. It's a reed, and we want to use the inner part of it. It's very similar to using an artichoke, where there's a lot of rough, gruff stuff on the outside, and we want to get to the juicy, beautiful, delicate heart. What you do with the external leaves of the lemongrass, I didn't take the root off that enough. You take the external leaves of the lemongrass and use them in your stock. So you can take all of these and just pop them into stock, and it gives a beautiful flavor. You don't want to put too much lemongrass into any of your dishes, lemongrass into your dishes, because it has a soapy flavor, and it will extrude that soapy flavor. You don't want to have that come out in your dish. So we're going to take the bottom inch and a half, 2 inches of this lemongrass, and just cut it in half, and then we're going to just basically shred it down very, very thin, tiny little slices, because it's quite a woody herb, and so its texture can be very, very tough. So if you slice it very, very thin, it will release the flavor, but it will tenderize as it's cooking. Like I mentioned, the flavor comes from this really beautiful root. This is a very heavily water-based plant, So there's an awful lot of natural mineral content in there, and it comes out really easily. And because we've cut it just before we're putting it into the dish, in there, perfect, it will release that flavor and all of that nutrient in there. So here's our chicken's cooking beautifully. The tomatoes are coming around gorgeous. Our lemongrass is prepared. If I'm left with the lemongrass like this, what I would basically do is take the knife and go down the center of it, and I would steam that in stock or in vegetables would be a great thing. I just basically fold it in half and I pop it into the pot and just steam it away with the vegetables. It's got a great little flavor, and it's like tea. It infuses the liquid that it's in. So, chicken's cooking beautifully. You want to make sure you turn it, get all of the sides, turn over, all of the sides. I'm going to pop in a little bit of black pepper. Fresh ground black pepper is a must. I've said this, and it's my mantra. I've said it for decades and decades now, especially for men over the age of 40. You should not be eating pepper that's ground and left on the table. It's rancid 48 hours after it's ground. Our bodies are now craving that rancid pepper, and we really don't want to be. But as men, we want to be eating fresh cracked black pepper because it lines our colon and allows our colon to become almost immune to colorectal cancer. It reduces the chance by 80% if you move to the oil that's in a fresh ground black pepper. It's a really, really important thing. A little bit of fleur de sel in here for a little bit of flavor. And then we're going to add some cream, some lovely, luxurious double whipping cream. And if you can get heavy cream, use that. And go to, again, go to our website and I'll give you a link to where you can go and get lovely heavy cream. That cream actually comes from about 100 meters away from where it's sold, so it's very cool. They own the farm, they own the cheese works. It's an amazing situation. So just let that simmer. If you're faced with a situation where your sauce is too thin, this one isn't, and this will actually thicken and coat just beautifully. And this chicken will be just done when it hits the plate. It won't be overcooked and definitely won't be undercooked. It'll be just done. But if it's too thick, here's a top tip. Take an egg and separate out the yolk from the white. Take it, all of it, the stabilizers, everything. You notice that on the edge of an egg, there's these, we call that the shalaz. Just use the yolk to cut it, if it will. Go on, cut today for me, please. There you go. And put that yolk into the cream. What you do is just drop it in there right now and then mix it around really quickly. And that will thicken that sauce up just beautifully without scrambling it, without causing anything in there. It'll just see how that got beautifully thick and creamy. And that's because the yolk was an emulsifier. It stabilized what was going on in that skillet. So really beautifully done. Top tip again, if I can get the camera to look into that dish, if you have an eggshell in the bottom of your egg that you've separated, take the eggshell that you've used, the egg came from, and put it into the yolk, the whites or the one with it, and lift it up, and the shell will come out right away. And the reason for that is that the calcium within this shell attracts the calcium within the other part of the shell. They're like magnets. They come together, and you can pick it out. So top tip for that. Sorry, looking at the wrong camera. Top tip for that eggshell there, people. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to serve this. I love this dish. Really, really simple. I don't like to mess around with this too much. I like it nice and gentle. So in this pot, I have some broccolini that I have literally just poached for 3 or 4 minutes. They were poached for next to no time. A little bit of water, a little bit of fleur de sel, and really just poached for a very small amount of time. I take then this beautiful green curry, the lemongrass curry, sorry, lemongrass chicken, and put that over the bottom. Make sure you get some of those gorgeous cherry tomatoes for that color. A little bit of that gorgeous cream sauce over there. And we will take our handy dandy little and mop that up. And then we're just going to take some parsley, just a little garnish of some parsley. I just want to really just chop it rough. We're not going to do too much with it. Just a little bit of a rough chop in that parsley and put it on top. Parsley's got an amazing amount of nutrient and mineral content. We actually make a beautiful salad with this, with just cilantro, parsley, some pomegranate seeds, pine nuts on top, and lemon juice. It's a really beautiful salad. A little bit of parsley on there, and that is it. I touch it with a tiny bit of fleur de sel, and we're finished. That is our beautiful lemongrass chicken with a little bit of broccolini. And when we come back on Wild for the Weekend, we are going to talk a little bit more about the health benefits of chicken, and we're going to make those beautiful crackers we saw earlier on with the blackberry fleur de sel. So please come back in just a moment or two on Wild for the Weekend.
Wild for the Weekend is sponsored by the following supporters.
Hopcop Premium Meats are third-generation BC farmers, roaming pasture-fed, non-GMO, grain-finished cattle with no added hormones and steroids. We source local produce and specialty grocery selections located on Old Dewdney Trunk Road in Pitt Meadows. hopcopmeats.ca. West Coast Wild Foods, foraged wild mushrooms and truffles harvested from the Northwest Territories to southern BC. westcoastwildfoods.com, a wild foods company.
Mobile Bandit is an app that helps you find local deals on your smartphone. Downloadable on all devices and no membership is required. Visit mobilebandit.com for more info. Golden Ears Cheeseworks, artisan cheese made in the Fraser Valley. Golden Ears Cheeseworks, cheese made with the family farm milk. 3-year cheddar, Yorkshire Blue, and Brie. Hagen's Board Chocolates is a boutique Vancouver-based chocolate company that has been producing European chocolate since 2006. Pure Verona chocolate.
Third-generation family farm in the Fraser Valley. Fraser Valley Specialty Poultry has free-range duck and goose, duck sausage and smoked duck breast, organic chicken and ground duck patties. Fraser Valley Specialty Poultry in Chilliwack, BC. fvdg.com. Anita's Organic Flour and Mixes has over 20 years providing whole grain products from Canadian farmers. Anita's is certified organic grains, flour, cereals, mixes, and sprouted products. Their granite stone mills and low temperature milling preserve the nutrition for whole grain food. AnitasOrganic.com.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Wild for the Weekend, and now we are going to make some crackers. Crackers are stupid easy to make, really simple to make. I spent years and years in buying water biscuits and then discovered I could make them on my own, especially if you've got somebody else helping you, you don't have to do the mixing. I can make them on my own for next to nothing and with a lot of ease and some great flavors. So we're gonna have fun with this one today. We made a really lovely one with this one today. So in our dough is basically a whole wheat flour, but we used a sprouted. Now I want to encourage you to use a sprouted flour because of that nutrient content, the mineral content, the vitamins are all just immensely higher when you use a sprouted product. So here's flour, a little bit of milk, some sugar, some butter, some salt. Bingo bango, we're done. A lot of flour on here to roll it out, just so that we can get it nice and thin. You want to get this pepper thin, wafer thin, as they would say. And we've let this dough rest, and if you let it rest, what happens is it will actually won't spring back. It'll stay in the form that it's meant to be in. And don't worry about cracks around the edges. Go and get more flour if it's not there. Definitely more flour on top. And don't worry about that because that's not actually going to affect the cracker at all. If anything, it makes it just ever so slightly drier, and that's it. Really, it doesn't do very much at all. So once you've rolled it out to the thickness that you want, and you want it to be, again, very thin. Let's get this out just a little bit more. Come back here and go over there. There you go. So, toppings on your cracker. You can put anything you want that's hard. I love to put seeds, roasted sesame seeds, black sesame seeds, pine nuts. All of these things are perfect. But in ours today, we did sesame seeds. Just put them on top, spread them on top, and then the fleur de sel, the blackberry fleur de sel, which gave it that lovely purple beetrooty color on there. Take that fleur de sel. And this is what, you'll know in the recipe, you'll notice that there's very little salt in there. This is what gives the cracker, the flavor and that beautiful deep richness. The weight of the rolling pin, nothing more than the weight of the rolling pin. Roll that over there and just let them go into the dough. That will literally allow it to stay stuck onto the dough. Then all we do is we're going to take the dough and we're just cutting them into strips. You can make them little cubes, you can make them triangles, you can make them circles, use a cookie cutter, whatever you would like. I just take them and cut them up and cut them this way. And literally, that's it. Take them off and pop them on a parchment-lined baking tray and pop them into an oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. You want to get them nice and brown. And they can stay, these are not going to expand. They can stay very close to each other. They're going to cook very, very simply that way. And they won't expand out because the dough is not leavening. It's just a flat, basic dough, so it's not leavening. Really, really lovely cracker. And it goes so well with our chicken curry that we did earlier. I've really enjoyed cooking with you today. I want to encourage you to get to know your butcher, get to know your food, find out about that chicken and make sure you ask the question, was that chicken rumbled or wasn't it? And join us again on Wild for the Weekend. I look forward to seeing you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.